This week, I want to address the latest that's going around about the OCB. I also want to talk about where our priorities are focused, and I want to get into what really makes our culture tick. Want to hear about it? Let's roll. Hello and welcome to Natural Edge. Today, it's just me. I wanted the studio to myself for one episode because I wanted to delve into some things that don't really fall into our normal episode formats. I wanted to get into some things that I think are really important overall within the industry and within life in general. In other words, I wanted to get deep. And I also wanted to address something that people keep asking me about all the time. Why aren't you addressing this controversy or that controversy or this thing they're saying or that thing they're saying? So I wanted to get into all that, but I also wanted to open the aperture, not just OCB. I want you to be thinking about the whole industry. I want you to think about the entire world right now because I'm be bringing in some broader topics that I think it's important for you as individuals to understand and then figure out how they affect both the OCB and the industry, as well as you in everyday life. So, first and foremost, I want to address the social media aspects. I want to address what's happening on social media and how it is translating into real life. And why is it that we are all slaves to social media? Yet at the same time, we always walk away feeling stressed and anxietal after we've spent some time on social media looking at things. There's reasons for that. And that's going to tie into where I want to go with addressing what's being said. And then I want to talk about what we are doing about it in the OCB. I want to wrap up the episode talking about where we're headed, where our priorities going to be moving into the future. I mean, 2025 was an incredible year of expansion. I mean, we've added more shows, we've added countries, but what's our focus moving forward? Because as an organization, we have to have priorities and goals. We always have to have an end game in sight to keep us on track, to keep us focused, to keep us from spinning out of control and becoming something we weren't created to become. So I want to delve into that a little bit. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit about our culture. What is the OCB within the OCB? So let's start. Let's address that big thing, that social media animal that is all about what did they say about this? What did they say about that? All the controversy, all the tribalism, all of it. What is that all about? Well, about 15 years ago, an algorithm was created. And what that algorithm was designed to do was to be a marketing aspect to get more people drawn into what you are looking at or what you're doing on various platforms. This started on Facebook and it's now moved into everything. It's Meta, it's Twitter, it's X, it's whatever that's out there. It is permeated it. And what is that about? It's about engagement over accuracy of information. It's about creating clicks. It's about creating time on target. It's about keeping people enamored with reading something and then clicking on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And what it does is it feeds off anxiety. It feeds off of tribalism. Now, what is tribalism? Tribalism is an innate human nature, which means that you always want to be part of a tribe or a team, but you always have a sense of competition built into that. So there's always another team or another tribe that you end up with an us versus them mentality. Now, a lot of times that's good because it creates competition, and competition is good within the marketplace and within life. But sometimes it creates extreme tribalism when it goes too far. It creates an us versus them mentality. It creates an either you're on team A or you're on team B. You're either wearing my brand of shirts or you're not wearing my brand of shirts and I'm against you. It creates that divisiveness, that very, very, very dangerous thing that fragments humanity and doesn't draw us together. It's in bodybuilding. You got to be part of this federation or part of that federation. This is one of the reasons why people always ask the OCB, what are you doing about bodybuilding? What are you doing to this? Or what are you doing to that? Or why are you against these federations? Well, tell me, where are we against anybody? Our competitors can freely go to any organization and are encouraged to do so. We have members that are up in the hierarchy of other organizations that compete in our federation and are welcomed and are judged fairly. Now, does that mean that we are going to market with other organizations or share databases or whatever? No. Does Coke share with Pepsi? No, they don't. But they both respect the customers of the marketplace and allow people to take the Coke challenge or the Pepsi challenge because sometimes I want a Coke, sometimes I want a Pepsi, and it's all good. All right. So we're not looking to create that divisiveness, that tribalism, but we do like the friendly competition. But what happens when it goes too far? You're either on team A or on team B, and you end up with that I hate you because you're not part of me. Now, here's where I want to get into that in the broader aspect of it, and something that I want everybody to think about. How do you feel about the opposing whatever it is in your life? Do you feel the same way now that you felt 15 years ago, for those of you who are old enough to remember? I remember a day where it didn't matter if you were party A or party B, or it didn't matter if you were religion A or religion B. We kind of got to a point in society where we kind of all got along, but that's changed now. And it goes back to that algorithm. After 15 years of being on social media has taught humanity and people how to react and to pick up that algorithm and to create divisiveness and to create controversy and to get away from the accuracy of information that's put out in order to create an environment of clickbait. We've all heard of clickbait. Why are you drawn to clickbait? Even when you know better, why are you going there and clicking on it? Because of the algorithm, because of how we're trained to act and how we're trained to respond, and because of the emotional response that it creates. So people are out there trying to create an emotional response, and they're trying to create clicks, and they're putting out inaccurate and embellished upon information. Sometimes it's outright lies, fake news, if you will. Other times there's a medium of truth with a lot of embellishment thrown in with a lot of emotion to create a hypersense of awareness that gets you to click and listen and watch and go, oh my God, this thing that I'm part of, I don't know. I must have to question it now. But do you? Is it real? Is it valid? And why isn't there a response sometimes, particularly from the OCB when things circulate about us? We're going to get into that in a second. But I forgive people that do that, either individually or on their platform, because they've been conditioned through 15 years of this algorithm to just operate like that. It's just what it is. It's our modern day society. I don't know how we can correct it other than to make ourselves aware of it. And that's kind of what I want to do here. Not just for the OCB, not just for the industry, but for life in general. I want to make you aware of it and make you think the next time you want to hate something because it's not part of your tribal identity, whatever that tribe may be, whether it's religious, political, where you're going to get your sandwich for lunch. But I want you to think about that beforehand as you move forward. What effect is it having on humanity? What effect is it having on honesty and on truth? Why are morals so far less important now? Why is integrity so less important? Just things to keep in your back of your mind as you move forward. Like I said, I wanted to get a little philosophical on this one. So now let's talk about the why and why things are being put out, particularly within the industry. And we're going to focus in on the industry and why. Well, everybody wants to have power. Everybody craves power. Now, there's all different kinds of power. And let's talk about that from a leadership perspective. Having been through a lot of different leadership training in my military and police career, we learned a lot about power and the different aspects of power. So I don't want to make this a lesson in leadership, but I just want to point out what a few of them are so you can understand what we're talking about in fundamental. First, there's legitimate power. Now, legitimate power is somebody who has a title of authority, a police officer, or your boss at work, or a politician, a general, somebody that actually has authority placed on them to have that power. Then there's information power. What you know is often important. What makes a teacher important? What they know. You're trying to gain knowledge from them. What gives a coach power over one of their clients? The knowledge that they have. There's also connection power. Connection power is who you know. Who you know can make you important. Somebody who has little or no importance whatsoever is given power by who they know and who they surround themselves with and the connections that they can make for other people. There's also two important types of power that are important to me, and that's referent power, and that's the power of who you are as a person, and moral power. But those are important to me. But there's one that's out there that permeates social media, and that is influence or coercion power. That is the power to put things out, to change opinion, and to alter things. There's a lot of power in that power, that ability to change somebody's mind. Let's go back to that earlier scenario I gave you. Have you ever gone to the gym and your training partner wants to train A, but you want to train B, and you use your power of persuasion, influence, and coercion to get your way, and we train your way? It happens all the time in life, and we do it all the time. It's very potent. It's almost like an aphrodisiac. Have you ever met people that always want their own way? They're always coercing you into doing something. They don't even know why they want to do it. It's just, you want to go left? Nope, we're going to go right because I want to go right. And you end up going right because they coerce you into doing it. Well, it's because of a sense of power that they feel. They utilize that as their basis of power. So now let's talk about how that all ties into what gets said. Ever hear of a social media influencer? Why are social media influencers? Because of two things: the algorithm, the clickbait, building a following, and the power of influence and change. Sometimes they might not even believe in a message, but they always need content. They always need something to talk about. They always need to have something. Sometimes it's emotional based, sometimes it's intellectual based. It's always out there, but they're always trying to affect the direction. They're always trying to affect everything because they want to have power for putting information out, and they want to have followers so that they have a bigger base, creating more power, creating more influence, creating more. I think you get to see where I'm going here. So, am I saying that everything that gets put out in social media about anything, to include this organization, is false or is designed because of the algorithm and they're trying to create hate and discontent, or they're trying to put out misinformation for clickbait or all that? No, some things are legit and we address them. Not too long ago, something came up about feedback within the OCB specifically. I addressed it on a previous episode, and I actually gave credit to a social media influencer who went out and was talking about getting feedback, and people brought up some things. Now, was it just about OCB? No, it was about all organizations. But there were some people from the OCB there that I was able to reach out to, and I learned some things about the way they were getting their feedback from judges after a show. And it led to a lot of significant changes within the organization of how we're giving feedback. Now, were these changes a snap of a finger and all of a sudden it changes? No, all change takes time. See, there's two ways to elicit change within an organization. Either you can come down with a slam down dunk policy and heads will roll if you don't follow this, or you can begin to influence the change, get the buy-in, get people to understand why we need to go into a different direction, make those incremental progresses, and then over the course of time, you are at a new level and a high standard. What works better? I want you to think about a time in your workplace where some new policy or procedure came down, and it may have had all the great intentions in the world, but it was presented as a top-down directive. You will do this and change now. And nobody followed it, and it went by the wayside, and the culture of your organization still remained the same, and there were no changes met. Well, that's not the best way to operate. Sometimes you need to, but it's not the best way to operate. And it's not the way that we're operating within the OCB. So I'm just using that as one example of something that was put out there that had legitimate context to it, that we looked at, we absorbed, we utilized within the organization, are making a change from. See, as a leadership team within the organization, we're not fixed to any policy, procedure, or anything we're doing. It's not written in stone. We utilize experts to help guide us. We have a legal team. We have people that we work with on the scientific side with the drug testing. We have people who are professors of polygraph. We are people. And so we rely on the experts for information. We don't just go, chat GPT and find an AI answer to everything. What we do is we try to do a well-researched approach and make changes as necessary. So when stuff comes out in social media that's valid and has truth, we might not answer it on social media, but if we do an introspective and we look within our organization and we say that is something that we could change, then we are going to adapt a policy of change and do it the right way. Now, sometimes things need to be a knee-jerk reaction. Something happens, it's brought to our attention either through social media or somebody tells us, and it's like an egregious thing, and all of a sudden it's going to be a finger snap, and we are changing that right away. But cultural things and things that take time and process improvements need to be done a certain way. So thank you for those of you out there who have brought those to our attention. But now let's address some of the other things that go on out there. The kicking, the screaming, the embellishing, the outright lying, the finger pointing, the stuff that is set up to create anger and angst and hatred towards this organization, another organization, an individual, me, a political party, a political representative, religious party. It goes on and on. It's the same exact algorithm and power. Those are the two factors at play in all of it. This is why I want to talk to you in a broader aspect. So it's not just about OCB. I want you to think of these things in the context of how humanity is functioning right now. So Why do they put things out there like that? And why do some people do this? With the anger and the embellishment and this happened and blah, 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 for that very reason. The algorithm has trained them that by putting something out that creates divisiveness, tribalism, shock value, it's going to add clickbait, which is going to increase your power basis of followers and increase your referent power. It's as simple as that. People do it without even realizing they're doing it. It's just become the norm in society, which is why I forgive the people that are doing that right now. But let's talk about what the organization is doing about it. This is what you waited for. I'm going to answer it. That thing that's floating around on social media right now about the OCB, here's our response. Silence. Silence. Silence is the best response. Why are we remaining silent when there are some naysayers that are coming after us and saying things that aren't true, embellishing upon things, trying to create controversies where there really are no controversies? Why silence? Well, silence is strategic, and a knee-jerk reaction response is not. When people try to stir up controversy, it's called rage baiting. The instinct is always to defend yourself. Somebody throws a rock at you, you pick up a bigger rock and throw it right back at them, and then the rock fight is on. And this goes back to how social media works, creating that rage, creating that angst, creating that anger between two tribes, getting them fighting, because that thread then becomes the best thread to be advertising on and to jump on and to do marketing and to find different things, because it creates that divisiveness. It creates that anger. And all you do is feed into the algorithm. Strategic silence works better. Silence is the best reply when it's only about the drama, because drama operates on the economy of attention. The more attention you give the drama, the more attention the drama gets. And when the drama is inaccurate, when the drama is inconsequential, when the drama is only there for the participant to get more clicks, more views, and create their power back, why would we even bother to respond? Also, it takes valuable time, energy, and resources away from what we're really all about: our competitors, the organization, improving our shows, self-improvement. Think about all the time that you have gotten involved in some social media back and forth, and you're making comments and you're defending yourself from the comments you made, and you're attacking other people from other comments. And before you know it, you're angry, you're saturated, you've spent hours on this problem, you were exhausted, but you failed to make dinner. You didn't feed your kids, you didn't clean your house, didn't wash your car, didn't get to the bank, didn't pay your bills. All for what? All for what? To feed into drama? Was it worth it? What was the end game? Now, there are times where silence is not the answer. I already said there's times that things come up that we actually, as an organization, legitimately need to look at and try to get a fix for. And we do that. Sometimes there are legal issues involved. If somebody says something that is absolutely positively wrong, illegal, malfeasance, misfeasance, or is going to affect the brand, then we handle it, but not on social media. We have a legal department for that. Also, if there is a mass misinformation campaign that is going on, we will take action on that. 99.99% of the time, it's one or two individuals following the algorithm, looking for clicks, looking for influence power, and just putting stuff out there. We're not going to respond. Does the lion respond to the cackling of jackals? No. But when the lion roars, the jackals scramble. We'll wait to roar. Until then, when you see these things and they happen and you have a question about it, don't show us what's being said and don't come to us for a comment. Turn around and think back. Think about the time that you were exposed to the OCB. Think about a show that you were at. Think about competitors that you see in the interactions that they have. Are they positive? Okay. If there's a controversy going out about something that happened and there's some whatever and oh my God, this is wrong and this was evil and blah, 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 I can guarantee you that hundreds of other people within the organization have experienced the same. Is this the only person that's talking about it? Is this the only person that's twisting it and creating something out of it? Or did it permeate? Because I can tell you, when it's real, we take action. We make changes. We are in continuous process improvement within your organization, within your OCB, continuous process improvement. If it's valid, we fix it. If it's noise, we ignore it. We let you go out and be the litmus test. We let you go out and experience an OCB event. We let you become part of the judging process. We let you become part of the testing process. We let you become part of everything. Because if you want to get involved in this organization and you want to take a part in one of the leadership billets that we have, of which we have thousands of them across the country, we're going to invite you in and we're going to let you see behind the door, because we got nothing to hide. And we're not going to respond to the controversy. So for those of you who tuned in, thinking that I was going to drop some bomb about something that's said somewhere in the shadows. You're not going to get it. You're going to get a lesson on the algorithm, power, why it's being done, why silence is better, and why continuous process improvement is our goal and our role. Now, I want you to think about all those things I just said and how they interact with you, your life, and everything else around you. And now, what can you do to make other parts of your life better now that you know these things? Because it's all about what you know. Knowledge power. All right, now I want to talk a little bit about what is our fix going to be as we move forward. Because, like I said, we had a banner year this year. OCB is growing like a weed, which is a good thing. But what are we going to maintain our focus on as we move forward? Well, that's pretty simple. It's not expansion. It's not adding more shows, not adding more countries. We haven't even asked to add the countries we've asked. Our expansion's happening because you, our followers, are coming to us and saying, hey, have you ever thought about adding a show here? I live here. What about this? I'm from this country. I promote for over here and we've now experienced you and that all takes care of itself. It doesn't take a lot of time and energy. What does is continuing to try to make our events the best possible experience that they can be. This isn't taking away from any other organization. I already said at the beginning of this, compete where you like. There are a lot of great shows out there. There are a lot of great promoters that don't have OCB in front of them. Enjoy them all. But that's what our focus is going to be on. Our focus is also going to be on improving our own internal processes, increasing our own internal communication, making sure that we are held to our highest standard within our organization. Because anybody that's part of our organization needs to be about the people. They need to be about the collective. They need to be about everyone. And that's where we're going as we move forward. That is what our focus has always been. That is what our focus is going to be maintaining, creating the best possible experience at every show, no matter where it's held, no matter what size it is, so that every promoter gets the proper level of resources, education, assistance to make their event epic. Whether that event has 25 competitors in it or 255 competitors in it, it doesn't matter. Because if you are part of a contest, if you're part of the organization, we want to empower you and help you create the best possible environment so that everybody, whether they placed first or last, has the best possible experience. That's where our focus is. And it's going to maintain there. And that is how we're going to move forward. So this is a little bit more of an editorial episode than our traditional episode. We'll be back next Tuesday where Jody and I are going to wrap up the season. We're going to finish capping off some of the shows, talk about what's ahead for 2026 and how this may change with the way that we are going to be doing Natural Edge. I told you from the first episode, this is going to be a work in progress and we're going to be continuously changing it based on what our people like. Because we need to put content out that interests you, not what I want to put out, what interests all of you. So let us know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this editorial, if you like the way that we rolled in not just OCB, not just bodybuilding, not just industry, but opened up the aperture so you could think about whole life experience and how it relates to your bodybuilding experience. You want to see or hear more of that? Let me know. We can add some more of that in. But until then, in closing, I want you to train hard, be safe, and stay natural. Thank you for joining me. Please like or subscribe and hit me up in the comments section. Sully out.